The heartbeat of the valley. The Bible teaches us to share our talents and treasures. The people of the community and God's heart connecting. That's the heartbeat of the valley. People sharing special gifts, poems, stories, songs, history, a little piece of their heart.
Okay, so I am here with the band Inland. Hi.
Hi.
And I have found out about this band through some people that I know, and I'm just really excited to have them here on the air with us today here at WGLULP. How did you meet, first of all? And also give us your names, because I didn't even let anyone know your names.
My name is Jenna Murray.
And I'm Sean Murray.
We met about 8-9 years ago. I had moved up here from Chicago and had friends that happened to be Sean's cousins. So we kind of met through their family. And then we ended up, he's from Jersey, so we ended up actually meeting at a conference that we were both singing at. So kind of through music and through family.
Where was the conference?
It was actually at the Odd.
Yeah, it was the Generation Conference.
Okay, so you both came into the Utica area, and that's how you met. That's so great. Definitely a God thing. That's cool. Okay, so then how did you, obviously you met, and then you ended up married, obviously.
Yep.
And did the band kind of start when you were married or before that?
Well, we've always written music, and I think the way it started was we were doing a worship service at Utica College, and actually our first EP kind of came out of that, and then since then we've just been writing, and yeah.
How long has that been? I mean, when did you first start?
We started probably writing in 2010, 2011 for Inland, and then released our 4-song EP in 2012. We had a couple other music projects, like we would do weddings and different things, but that's when the worship kind of started.
Okay, so you do mainly worship music. Okay. I have listened to a couple of the songs that you have, but who would you say are your inspirations for the type of music that you write, the worship music, and also just the feel of the music and everything? Who are your influences?
I know growing up, Delirious was definitely a big inspiration, and Martin Smith, and and then just recently, really love Loud Harp, John Mark McMillan.
Yeah, Delirious was also an influence for me growing up. We like a band called Sleeping at Last. There's a lot. It's hard to think of.
Those are, mainly.
Yeah.
So would you say that you appreciate more of the song, because listening, and obviously some of these bands, like you mentioned, I have never heard of, and so would you say that you more appreciate the less mainstream type of music, and you kind of more are influenced by maybe bands that not many people have heard of? Either or? Either way, yeah. And that's actually here at this radio station. We play a lot of different types of music, and I usually, now that I've been able to be a part of it, I like to find music that you don't really hear anywhere else and play it here. So that's another thing I kind of appreciated about your band. So how did you get the name Inland?
Inland, we wrestled and kind of prayed about the name for a while, and I was reading a book, and the word inland was in there, and it was in the book, it was just talking like geographically, but when I read it, it just popped out at me, and it just to me meant like referring to your inner life, like inner life in God, where the songs come from. And so I kind of fell in love with it right away, and then we kind of talked about it and just decided that that's what we wanted to go with. So
yeah, I like it. I think it definitely is funny, because it definitely is like a band name. It sounds very much like a band name, but I definitely appreciate the reason behind it and recognizing that, like you said, your inner life with God is so important. And I think sometimes in our culture, at times we kind of focus so much on your outward life, and yet when you have a relationship with God, it is so important that we're cultivating that relationship inside, and then that pours out into our outward life as well. And so when you write music, would you say that is probably primarily the way that you guys express yourselves in your worship to God?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We try to, yeah.
What are the challenges and joys that you have experienced through working on this project together, whether in like your marriage, if there's been challenges with that, or maybe one of you wants to do something where the other is like, no, I don't want to do that quite as much. Talk a little bit about, like, I guess the challenges and joys of doing this project together as a married couple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, going back to when we first got married, we started doing worship together at church, and that was kind of our first step in working together as husband and wife. And it takes a while. So it probably took about 2 years, like I would say, before we were really comfortable leading worship together. And so that was like kind of the foundation of it. And then coming to where we are today, we've just kind of grown and kind of learning how to work with each other, balancing time together versus time that we work. And it's always more important to have that time together, because that's your foundation. and just communication and trying to respect each other's opinions and hearing each other out, and hopefully we can just have a good time.
That's great. So do you think that in a lot of ways it has really deepened your relationship as a married couple?
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
sounds definitely like it. That's great. And again, the reason I ask that question is because my husband and I are kind of believing that in some ways God is in the process of doing something similar where, we both enjoy music and writing, and he plays guitar. And so I guess like we've kind of been going through a season of like discovering how are we going to do this? What is God really doing in all of this? And so, okay, another thing I wanted to ask was, where have you been playing, and what is your whole intention of, whether it's only leading worship services, or are you playing other places that maybe like a secular setting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Most of the events have been local. We did an outreach I think it was back in June, right?
Yep.
Back in Dulwich,ville, and then just a couple of local events, and
Yeah, we did festival with the Oneida Square Project. We've definitely done we did a couple events at Bite around the holidays in Utica, and we primarily do a lot of worship, and are just really looking forward to partnering with the collective and some things and events like that. So I'm just hoping to kind of encourage artists and worship in the area. So
that's great. And now you said you primarily write worship music. Do you also write music that I guess in some ways could be used as more of like an outreach? So it's not, clearly so obviously we're worshiping God, but do you write music like that as well?
Yeah, I think all of our music kind of has a worship kind of theme throughout it. Maybe the way it's expressed may not be specifically for like a church congregation, and so sometimes
can take on a different form.
Yeah.
Well, you said you played at Bite, so
yeah, we did a lot of those were holiday shows, so we mixed in some of our originals, some songs from the album, some newer stuff, along with Christmas songs. And I love to just be with people, and even if we're not in doing a worship service, it's all ministry. It's all for the glory of God, and so we enjoy it. We like to do festivals, worship events. So
yeah, that makes sense, and I think that is really important because one of the things with going back to when you mentioned the Utica Worship Collective and being a part of that, and how it definitely coming together. Obviously as believers, it's so great to be encouraged by worship music and be together and worshiping in that way. But it's also so important to get out and do the outreach and be a part of the community that we're in Utica and the surrounding central New York areas. And so I think it is important to know. Again, the reason I asked that was because, I think we really do need other groups, bands, artists, people, to get out and do outreach. And so I appreciate it. And in fact, with that said, I'd actually like to play a couple of your songs, or at least one of your songs. Do you have one in mind that you would like to play? Okay, we will play a song called Hungry Hearts, and so trusting that you all will enjoy that. So we'll be right back with us here at WGLULP, and again, I'm here with the band Inland, and so enjoy this song called Hungry Hearts.
Teach us to know you true.
Oh, that was a beautiful, beautiful song. So blessed by that, and trusting that all you folks out there have been blessed by it as well. So Jenna, you said that some of on your album called Draw Near, that there are other people that are also on in that song in particular.
Throughout the whole album.
Throughout the whole album.
Yep.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about some of them.
Well, our producer Joel, we met several years ago when we did our 4-song EP, and he really orchestrated a lot of the people that we were able to work with and a lot of the arrangements. And through him, he's based in Charlotte, we were able to work with several other people who really made the music like come alive. When we began, we thought it was just going to be Sean and I just doing the whole thing, and so it's like leaps and bounds beyond what we had expected it to be. So I don't know, Sean, do you want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, so it was a joy to work with. We had Jesse Proctor play drums. We had Shay Wooten play bass. Stephen Williams, I think, played banjo on the last song. Stephen Roach played some dulcimer. We had a couple from North Carolina help with the strings, help Jenna with the strings, and then Destiny sang some background vocals, right? And so it was a joy and a privilege to to play with all of them and to work with Joel. I mean, we really had a great time working with him. So
how did you meet Joel?
So it's kind of funny. When we were recording our first EP, I really wanted to work with him, and so I contacted his studio in Charlotte just because we really connected with the music that he was doing and some of the music that was coming out of that studio. And long story short, we actually didn't hear from him for like 3 or 4 months. So one day we were getting ready to go down to New York City, and right before we left, I checked my Facebook email and I had a message from Joel, and he just said, hey, sorry I didn't get back to you. I'm living in New York City. Here's my cell phone number. Give me a call, and we'll, would love to work together. And so we ended up giving him a call that day, and we just really hit it off. And over the years we've just stayed connected, and we did this last album with him.
That's great, so great. So when did this album Draw Near? When did that come out?
That was released this past October.
Okay. Okay, so October of 2015. So it's definitely. And you had mentioned earlier too that you had other EPs. When were those released?
Yeah, so the first one was in 2012, November 2012. Yeah. And that was really the only one.
Okay. So blessed that they're going to let us play some of their music on this radio station. And did you want to mention anything about that song that we had heard, the Hungry Heart song, maybe about the inspiration or really the meaning behind it?
Sure. Hungry Hearts to me is just kind of about like the posture of our hearts as we worship, coming to the Lord like with open hands, open hearts, like wanting to surrender and just giving him glory, giving him honor, and asking him to come and meet us in that place. So that's pretty much like what the song kind of means to me.
Okay, so do you have any idea as far as maybe obviously like you're saying that God is clearly leading everything and leading how you were able to connect with so many people for the album and with this Joel and with obviously all these other folks that are a part of this most recent album. Do you know maybe what your future looks like as far as maybe where God is leading you guys, or any idea? Sometimes God, we have a vision, but then we don't know where to go with it. So, but sometimes he gives us little glimpses.
There's a few different things that we kind of see and kind of hope will happen, but I know for myself I'm very excited about some of the things happening in this region, some of the different artists who we've been able to meet, and kind of cultivating that, encouraging people in their gifts and encouraging others to find their voice in worship. And you don't even have to have a musical gift, like we're all called to worship the Lord. So kind of as we're here right now, just working with different churches, different events, just like unity in the body. And so we're excited about that. But then, at some point, I think we would both enjoy being able to travel with our music. So it's just kind of all in the Lord's timing. And
yeah, that sounds really wonderful and really important. Again, as we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier about the importance of kind of all being unified and all encouraging each other. And I think it's really encouraging to hear that someone that, obviously from my perspective, you're very talented, but I know that it's God giving you these, wonderful gifts and talents. And so for me, it's encouraging because I want, it's nice to be encouraged by someone that does have clearly has a talent. and wants to serve others and allow others also to know that they can, like you said, they can find their voice, they can worship God in whatever means, and also, like you said, not just musically. It is our lifestyle that we can, worship God with, and it is important for the unity of the body to encourage each other. And so I think that's a really great. What if somebody were to tune into the radio station right now? What would you want them to hear from you guys? Again, we're here with Inland here at WGLULP, and yeah, so Inland, what would you guys want the people to hear right now if they were just to tune in?
I would just say kind of a word of encouragement. Just, wherever you're at in life, God will meet you right there, and He's got obviously a purpose for all of us, and to just not give up on the dreams and the callings that He's put in your heart. I mean, it's been a long road for us. We're just beginning, but it's a continual walk of faith, and to not be discouraged. So that's kind of what I would say, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Very good. And let us know, how can we get a hold of you? How can we find your music and just get in contact with you?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/inlandworship. And we also have a website. It's inlandworship.com. So either of those, you can kind of stay up to date on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're on Instagram and Twitter too, but the website, Facebook page.
As far as the music, to buy your music, would it be through the website, or can you also buy through Amazon or anything like that?
Yeah, it's up on a lot of sites. It's iTunes and Amazon. It's on Spotify if you want to check it out before you purchase. So yeah.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
So fun. Okay, we will look forward to maybe connecting with you more, and maybe knowing about other events that we can share with our listeners. So again, thanks so much.
If you want to share some of your heart with the listeners, call us 896-2929 or send us a Facebook message or check out our website. Let us know you want to share something special with us for Heartbeat of the Valley.